it's okay to be different. I think that's really the huge part in it. And it's not something that you should take lightly. Just be empowered by it.
Welcome to another episode of Promoted, a podcast about leaving low-wage work for good. I'm Joey Ratcliff, today's host and a Married America coach. In this episode, we're talking about something that may be a newer concept in the workforce, straying from the 9 to 5 p.m. job and creating your own career. Today, I'm joined by Toneise, who created her own career and was one of my learners. Toneise, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you so much, Joey. I'm so happy to be here.
I remember first meeting you, Toneise, and I think from the very beginning, you always had just a different approach to sort of your work and what you had done and then what you wanted to do. But I can't stress enough how disciplined you were and you know, how often we met and how you really took control of the program and certificate and now have made it into this entrepreneur career. So let's dig into it and talk about how you did it. Let's start with your background. So can you please share with our listeners where you were before you joined Married America?
Let's start from the beginning, right? So once I grew up and I knew, I always had this like, okay, what am I going to do? I really didn't know at all what I wanted to do. At one point, I just wanted to be a FBI agent, believe it or not. I watched this Keenan movie and it was there. So long and behold, test of time, I found retail and I wound up being a senior store manager that was managing multiple storefronts in California. And now I'm back in New York. And I found Married America pretty much after that.
That's awesome. I knew that you had a cross-country journey, I think, fairly recently when you had joined the program. And so that was fascinating to learn more about. What ultimately led you to apply to Married America? What were you hoping to do to change your life?
Yes, absolutely. So before I found Married America, I was looking at something different, right? So I knew I had all these skills. I just had no idea what to do with them. So I've actually seen Married America pop up on a few feeds, even in searches. And I was like, okay, this is like the 10th time. All right, fine. I'm going to look into it. And then something shocking happened. I saw, I started reading in more to business decisions. There was a very detailed way of describing the data analytics program. And I was like, I know data. And so I was catching these pinpoints that was happening when I was reading. I'm like, wait, I think they know me. And I started reading to it and then, I clicked and then I applied because it was like the first like aha moment I was searching for a long time. Transitioning from the West Coast to the East Coast was definitely an understatement, even though I was from New York. So, if anybody listening, like making that move, think it through.
Absolutely. Having done a couple of cross-country moves myself, I know that is definitely something, but it's also a learning experience. So navigating that transition, not only moving cross-country, but also then navigating starting a new program, probably what some would say a really arduous time of your life of moving across country. What was that like to then enter Married America after coming off such a transition?
Well, the first thing I said, Toneise, what the hell are you doing? What are you do? What are you doing now? My family, everyone knows me. I feel like I give everyone heart attacks. It's like I just could never follow the traditional way, always wanted to follow my ambitions. And I was like, man, I'm going to up my skills this time. I was sure and positive, and I said, we're going to do this. It was very challenging. I was afraid. A lot of people don't really talk about that. The what comes with change. When I saw it, I was like, all right, we're jumping again. And once you sign up, and I said, there's no going back. But this was a more safer journey than moving across country. So yeah.
I want to also discuss sort of how you've built this, what we're calling the thinking outside of the traditional 9 to 5 and really creating your ideal career. Because there are so many different jobs that stray from the traditional 9 to 5 and traditional job. And so we think of content creators, gig workers, it is important to remember that the ideal career or job, if it doesn't exist or isn't attainable at the moment, you can kind of, in this day and age, you really can kind of go and create your own and build your resume in different ways through different upskilling, and a lot of what our conversations talked about is where we're taking your previous experience and now bridging it with the data analytics that you were getting during the program, right? And so I know you and I had many conversations about that. So you mentioned it briefly, but I'd love for you to go into a little bit about how retail really helped spark your interest in data analytics and in that field, and why you were so drawn to it.
Yes, because reading the information about the data analytics program, it pretty much made me more aware of the skills that I've been doing for years and how I can take it from being, how would you say, physical to digital. So that's what sparked me. I was like, wait, I have these skills. I can transfer them to something else. So the implementation of being able to, come up with systems and processes and watching data real time and making decisions from it, in the business is crucial. So, in retail, that's a nonstop thing happening. And then I saw this as a way to upgrade it. I'll be able to apply it in more real world scenarios, which was pretty enticing. I was like, wait a minute. Even now when I talk about it, I still get the same excitement from when something about that click, right? When it clicks that, organization, so problem solving, or inventory, everything that you do in retail. And I think a lot of people can relate to retail. You come up with a system, subconsciously, it never leaves you. And, being able to take that and make the correspondence to the two was really transformational.
So, Toneise, this episode is all about building your own career. So, can you tell us a little bit more about your current roles and what you're doing?
Yeah, so as of right now, I am a user tester for Applause. So I've been doing user testing for about 2 months, 3 months now. And then I still have the job that's coming up around for program advisor for kids. So, which is helping parents being able to select a program to help kids out learn how to read, which I think is truly amazing. It fills my heart up. You get a chance to talk to parents and they're talking about their kids. So
is there anything that you can pinpoint specifically from the Merit America program that, from either the certificate or the resources that were provided to you that have now helped you in any one of these different areas that you're working in?
Yes. I believe the reason how I got into user testing was because of the data analytics. So being able to use that experience and, SQL and being able to get into testing. This was like the first time that I was like, oh, I found something different that I can do. And, they work with you. And it's just been truly amazing experience. I was able to use that.
That's awesome. And we obviously can't understate the importance of your coach in all of that, right? And so
of course.
Was there a specific project or an exercise that you did during the program that you felt really highlighted the learning journey that you had accomplished at the end of the program and really was really representative of your new skill set?
Oh, the capstone projects. Oh man, that was something I never thought I needed, if that makes sense. I think all the projects in the program was truly like, it was like a plug and play with the mind. You were able to take, all the different mindset shifts that I had, all of the different associations and just being able to follow the steps. Just to let you know, it was really hard for me because as you know, I'm kind of like the daredevil. I go do my own thing. So, having the structural format and, the mentorship, that was like life changing for it. And it's well needed too. And I think that was like how I just kind of pulled everything together and, the project. I mean, everything was just fully a blast, but taking the time to focus, it helped build my resilience. And be able to focus because we have many conversations and you was like, okay, you're thinking too far. We don't want to go, if we live in New York, right, we don't need to go to Austin, Texas.
Right. Yes.
if we just need to go to Jersey, right? We don't need to go all the way out there. And that was something that kind of stuck with me as I was going through the project, through the process.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, Toneise, you are admittedly burying the lead here because you had one of the best capstone projects that I've ever seen. So, can you give us just a little glimpse into like what you did and what you accomplished with it?
I went for my skills, right? At retail and I picked a data set, unfortunately I didn't know at first it was a static data set. So it was kind of limited as far as like being able to use, date and time and things of that nature. But I was able to transform it. So I was able to get in the mindset of the actual project owner, and I was able to transfer that into a few different dashboards. So I was able to break it down. I was able to use the skills, and this was the first time I was able to use the skills did physically into digitally. So I took information, I simplified it. I even come up with different opportunities for the new stakeholders, and then surprisingly, use Tableau. Like Tableau was like, I feel like it should be in schools now. Being able to take all the information and just simplify it into different graphs. It helped with my presentation skills. I was able to create a video, which is kind of like scary at first. I was like, oh my God, I have to present this stuff. But it really, you can see the growth from step 1 all the way down to step 10. And when you finish it, it's just like, it's beautiful. You just created a whole project that you can perform effectively in the interviews, and you could show it to anyone, and it was really great.
It was really great, and you should be very proud. What aspect of that experience has helped you now create this, this unique career that you have now?
Oh, having systems in place.
Okay.
Having system in place, but being more supportive in detail. My attention to detail increased very heavily. It changed everything for me. Even now. It comes up sometimes when I'm even reading a book, and I'm like, the process. Okay.
Yeah,
We're going
right.
to the next
You
step.
look at things differently,
Okay.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely. At least everything differently. But it was needed, well needed, especially just being able to take the process and even into like my boutique. And I was able to implement the things I was learning from Merit America as an extra practice into this project too, as well.
Right. I'm so glad you mentioned that because that's where I was going next was your personal project. You have the boutique. So talk about that project. How has it been important for you to pursue that personal project during your job search and in this career?
I think it helped with motivation. It
Mhm.
helps with the motivation. It helps to keep things fresh. When you're looking for jobs and you're looking for different positions, it starts to get a little tedious. You get frustrated. I had moments where I'm like, okay, that's it. I got to walk away from the computer. I'll come back. And I felt like my creativeness was like leaving me a little bit because I was doing something that was mundane all the time. So it's like within this project that I started off for fun, I can't believe it. It turned into where I was able to keep organization happening. I was able to keep a positive mindset. And then also when I was learning things, I was able to apply it to the workforce. So I was looking for jobs that was like, oh, okay, this is that. And yeah, it was very important. I would encourage anybody, if you have anything that's really creative wise, even if it's just going to the gym, something that really makes you happy is a good thing to keep go like together when you're job searching, just to kind of keep your spirits up high and just keep the motivation going. And yeah.
Does it have a name? Does it have a name
Oh
or
yes,
anything?
it is. It's called Chick Loft. So it's
Mhm.
a little bit of who I am then and who I am going to become. So I envision myself having a loft. Okay, I think we talked about this, having that big party that I was going to
Sounds
invite
so
you
New
to.
York. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I imagine myself having a loft party. I still see the vision, and it's just pretty much different. Like I said, different items for women. Transition from like the street clothes, whatever profession you were into, whether you were a teacher. If it has like like tweed jackets and shoes and just different involvement. So pretty much like the next upgrade of clothing that I would personally wear, and it was something for me to resonate with somebody or a bunch of women in my position.
with all this, again, we've sort of been talking about, I'm going to bring it back just a little bit to talking to the listeners. And what advice would you give people who are struggling to achieve their career or who are wanting to start a personal project of passion and something that means a lot to them while navigating the job search or just, their career as a woman, right? And so, and maybe they are not able to embark on this traditional path of the 9 to 5. So what advice do you have for those people, Toneise?
I have a few points. I'll start with like the main one would be the mindset, right? And I think it's kind of hard when you have creative, you're more creative, you love to be in that creative space, and then you have the reality of the real world, right? Like, okay, I have to pay the bills, I need my apartment, I need to somewhere to live, right? And I think if you can make the switch and the acceptance of, you know what, as long as I continue to work with my creative projects in my possession, kind of like having a puppy or a cat. It's like, okay, they're always around, and I gotta feed it and water it. If I kind of treat it like that, and okay, you know what, I'm gonna get maybe the 9 to 5 job, right? I feel like we always have this like, okay, you go to work, you can leave, right? But if you have that creative passion, you understand, okay, this is going to support the lifelong dream that I have, the long term, and just accepting like, okay, this is only for right now. This is temporary, but I will forewarn the listeners, you're going to have to sit with yourself, go outside and be like, okay, this is what's really happening right now. We can't get rich tomorrow. I know you don't want to go back to the job. I know you don't want to do it, but you can find a different aspect of a 9 to 5, right? So something as simple as like, okay, you can be a voiceover worker. You can be, thinking outside the box of, still working a job. Maybe not a traditional, working for the city or things of that nature, but you can find something else, things that's outside of the normal, but it's still a job. So it kind of keeps everything together.
Toneise, you're so inspiring because I'm like, okay, what personal projects do I have that now I want to do, right? And so that's so awesome. I'm so glad that you found that. So I have to ask, Toneise, looking ahead, what's next for you in your career? What aspirations are you aiming for next? Because I know you have them.
Yeah, so I actually stumbled across user testing, which is also helping with technology for the future, and it's still a job. Right. Mm-hmm. But it's still on the creative side. It's not the typical you punch in and we do the same thing, So this is a perfect example of a different way to have so I can continue with the boutique. So I've gotten to user testing for right now, but I think ultimately long term, I want to be a speaker. I thought about it, sat with it, maybe even create a book and just kind of just talk about, my daredevil life and the ups and downs and just to kind of keep people inspired that it's okay to be different. I think that's really the huge part in it, and it's not something that you should take lightly. Just be empowered by it and then find people like Joey and then everything's gonna be all right.
Toneise, you're absolutely breaking ceilings, and I cannot wait to see the author, speaker, boutique owner, data analytics extraordinaire that you are and will be. Okay, and so thank you so much for sharing your incredible journey with us. Really, your willingness to share how you built your own career will inspire others. I know you've inspired me today, and breaking away from that traditional 9 to 5 job is possible, and being able to create careers and or passion projects that truly fulfill people. So thank you so much, Toneise, for your time. And thanks everyone for tuning into this episode of Promoted. If you're interested in learning more about how Married American can be your partner in career goals, visit our website at www.marriedamerica.org. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Promoted.